Welcome to Taiji's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make super juicy karaage. So for those who don't know, karaage is a Japanese style fried chicken. It's a very typical izakaya food, and as I started this channel, I've already made a video of this. But since then, I've also tried different recipes, and as I learned this technique of brining, it just really totally changed my concept of karaage because it just makes it so juicy. And yes, it does take a little more time to prepare, but the process itself is not difficult at all, and it just really makes a big difference. So I really do hope you give this a try. Then, let's get started. Here are the ingredients for super juicy karaage. So I have chicken thigh meat. I'm gonna use a whole thigh. For karaage, we usually use a chicken thigh meat. And I'm also gonna show you how to debone chicken thigh. And then for the batter, I have ginger, garlic, and also salt and sugar. And I also have sake, but if you don't have sake, you can just use regular white wine. Then I have here tapioca starch. You can use any other starch, or you can also make it with all-purpose flour. Then let's get into it. As the first thing, let's debone the chicken thigh. So whenever you're cutting meat or fish on top of a wooden cutting board, make sure you wet the cutting board first. So as the first thing, I'm gonna separate this in the top and the bottom part. There's a way without doing this, but this makes the deboning much easier. There's a top part and the bottom part. I'm gonna separate with a joint. So you can see where it bends. The joint is around here. It's a little bit above where it kind of curves right here. So around here. And you just kind of cut very easily like this, and it should separate very easily. So let's debone the bottom first. Doesn't really matter where you start. You can just kind of start cutting in here like this. Using the tip of the knife, kind of cut in here like this, and then try to reach the bone in the middle. And then as you reach it, you kind of slice the edge of the bone like this, very slowly, step by step, on the edge of the bone like this. And once you got a little bit halfway, I'm gonna kind of cut the skin like this all around so that it'll be easier to work later. And you keep slicing the edge of the bone like this. And you should be able to debone quite easily like this. And then you have the bottom part of the thigh deboned. Sometimes you might have a little bit of the bone left like this. So this is a little leftover cartilage, so you make sure you take that out. Otherwise it gets a little bit in the way of eating. And cut these pieces of bone or cartilage off. And then you just kind of touch on the surface and make sure you have no bones left. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I like to take off a little bit of this tendon right here. It gets also in the way of eating a little bit, so just cut these off. You don't have to be so picky about this, but just kind of these big parts. So then the bottom part is finished. So then let's work with the top part. So this is kind of the body part, and there's a leg bone right here. So what you want to do is you kind of feel where the bone ends and the meat starts. Kind of want to start slicing like right here. Try to get the edge of the bone like this, slowly. And then once you get to the bone right here, you start slicing along the bone right here. And then you go around along this bone right here, like this. And then you have this bone taken off. And then you just keep going along this bone right here. So just like that, the bone and meat is separated. With this bone, there's two parts that you can kind of still take off the meat, which is this part right here. You put your thumb in here like this, and then take this out. And then you can get this meat out. And then also inside, put your thumb right in here, and then kind of scrape it off like this, and then cut the tendon off, and you can get that meat off as well. Today I'm not gonna use these small parts, but you can use this for other cooking. And then with this top part of the thigh, I'm gonna first take off the excess fat right here. And also there's one part, this is a kneecap, and this is kind of a little bit hard. This is a cartilage, so you wanna take this out. Otherwise you have a little hard part for your cooking. So what you want to do is just kind of cut on the side like this, and then cut it in from the side. Then you have this kneecap taken out. And then just kind of feel the surface, make sure you don't have any bone. Then with that, I'm finished deboning the chicken thigh. So I have the bottom part and the top part, two small meat, and then bones. Don't just throw away bones. You can make really good broth out of this. I also have a recipe using this bones, or just use it for any chicken stock. So out of one chicken thigh, you can usually get about 200 to 250 grams of meat, which is a perfect portion for one person. And this deboning will take a little bit of practice. You might not get it in the first try, but just keep trying a couple times and then you'll get the hang of it. As they say, practice makes perfect. So then let's cut these up for the karaage. So before you cut them, make sure you flatten the skin like this. So separate it like this because the skin is really delicious, so make sure you don't take out the skin. So then as these are flattened, first I'm gonna put it to the meat side. So the bottom part I usually cut into 2 pieces, like this. And then the top part, just 4 pieces like this. So then with that you have about the same size pieces. Then make sure you wash the cutting board really well after cutting meat. Then as the next thing, let's make the brining liquid. So for 1 cup of water, I'm gonna put in 1 teaspoon of salt and also 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then you wanna mix it until this dissolves. Then once sugar and the salt has been dissolved, then I'm gonna put the meat in the brining liquid. Then I put a little saran wrap over it. Then I'm gonna put this in the fridge and let it sit for at least an hour and let the meat soak in the brining liquid. Then as we're waiting for the meat to brine, let's make a sauce for the batter. So for that, I'm gonna grate garlic and ginger. Take the skin of the garlic off. And also for the ginger, just take out the dry part. And then using kind of like this, you can just scrape off the surface of the ginger like this. And then you can take off the skin quite easily like this. So just grate them as usual. So just like that. And also the ginger. So just like that, the garlic and ginger is grated. Then let's make the sauce for the batter. So I'm gonna put in the garlic and ginger, what I just grated. Then here about a tablespoon of soy sauce. And also another tablespoon of sake. If you don't have sake, you can just use regular white wine. Then a teaspoon of sugar. And then just mix this. Then that's done for that. So 1 hour has passed. Then let's take out the meat from the brining liquid. And before I'm putting this in the sauce, we need to dry it from the excess liquid. And so using a paper towel like this. And then let's put in the pre-made sauce. Then we're gonna put over this saran wrap. Putting the saran wrap on will help marinate evenly. Then I'm gonna put this in the fridge and let it sit for about 15 to 30 minutes or so, and definitely no more than that, otherwise the brining liquid will be taken out due to the soy sauce. So just about 15 minutes passed. Before you start putting a coating for the karaage, you want to heat up the oil first, because this will take a little bit of time. You want to fry the meat right after you get the coating. Just put any frying oil. Then I'm going to turn the heat to high and heat it up to about 150 degrees or so. If you don't have a thermometer like me, I'll show you a little trick later how you can tell the temperature of the oil. So the oil has reached about 150 degrees. I'm going to turn the heat off for now, and let's prepare the coating for the meat. So this is a little bit complicated process. If you're lazy and you don't need to make it that crunchy, you can skip this and just kind of mix it up. Then you can just mix up the starch, but this is a method that I learned to make it crunchy coating. So in a separate plate, just about 3 tablespoons or so of starch. Then here I'm going to put the liquid of the marinade, just a little bit, just like this. I'm just going to lightly mix it up like this and just kind of make these clumps intentionally. Just like this. You have the coating with clumps. And to the meat and the marinade sauce, then here I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of starch and then mix this up. And so kind of start foaming the batter like this. And the next step is a little bit tedious, but it's really crucial for this crunchy, juicy karaage. So you have the meat like this, and then you want to just spread out this skin like this. Because if you have the meat outside like this, liquid will go out. But if you coat it up like this with a skin, you have less meat surface and then you lose as little juice as possible. And then you coat this with coating like this. Make sure it's all coated around. And then just like that. Try to spread out the skin like this. And then put the coating. So then this is finished coating up. The temperature has been lowered a little bit, so I'm going to turn the heat to high. Then again, heat it up to 150 degrees or so. So then it has reached about 150 degrees again. And like I said, to tell the temperature, I'm going to put a little bit of crumb right here. And then if it takes a couple seconds to rise up like this, then it's about 150 degrees. Then I'm going to turn the heat to medium. And And then let's put these in. And make sure you don't put in too much. For this amount, I would say I'm not gonna put in more than 4 pieces. Putting in these cold meat will lower the temperature. Then we're gonna fry like this in low temperature for about 3 to 4 minutes or so. So 3 minutes passed. Oh yeah, this is looking really great. So I'm gonna put it to the side. Then we're gonna let it rest like this and cook through the middle. This process of cooking it twice is called nidoage. This is a process that you do when you have a little bit bigger chunk of meat. Make sure it's cooked through to the middle, but also not burning outside. Then as we're resting these meat, I'm gonna fry the second batch. Then again, I'm gonna start the timer for 3 minutes. Well, 3 minutes has passed. Oh yeah, this is looking really great. Can you see that it's rounded and puffed up? And as we rest the second batch, I'm gonna fry the first batch. And I'm gonna fry this with higher heat. So I'm gonna turn the heat to high and bring this to about 180 degrees or so. So now it has reached about 180 degrees. To tell this, I'm also gonna put in some crumbs like this. And if it comes out right away like this, then it's about 180 degrees. So I'm gonna put the first batch. It may splash a little bit, so be careful. So I'm gonna fry like this for about 2 minutes. So 2 minutes has passed. Let's take these out. Then let's cook the second batch as well. Let's start the timer. Then I'm gonna turn the heat off. And let's take these out as well. Then this is finished. And they look so good and they smell so good as well. I want to show you how they look inside. So this one's really puffed up. You can even hear that it's really crunchy. And when you cut them, you can really see the juices coming out. Then let's put these on a plate. Then this is done for the juicy karaage. Let's eat. Oh, that looks so great. I really can't wait to eat. Itadakimasu. Okay, let's eat. See how juicy that is? Oh, itadakimasu. So good. And you can also hear how crunchy it is. As you bite into it, the juice just really comes out. So delicious. So satisfying. Oh, so delicious. And it just goes so well with the rice. You can also, of course, squeeze in some lemon. This will just give a lot of freshness to it. And you can also wrap it up in lettuce like this. Kind of similar to Korean barbecue. Squeeze of lemon. Itadakimasu. This bitter flavor of the lettuce is also a really good match to go with the juicy karaage. That was so good, so delicious. I think this is just one of the very best dish of the whole Japanese cooking. ごちそうさまでした。Oh, it was so savory. In comparison to some other Japanese dish, you really don't need any special ingredients, and the step is not that particularly complicated. So if you follow my steps, you can definitely make this quite easily at home. So I really hope you give this a try. If you did enjoy my video and you thought this was helpful, I'd love it if you could like button for me. And if you have any requests or feedback or any questions, please feel free to write anything in the comments below. And if you want to see more of these videos, please subscribe. Otherwise, I look forward to see you in the next video. Bye.